Hi everyone, I'm Jared Brown, one of the editors of Build It, and on today's Industry Spotlight, we are talking everything safety. Joining me here today is Senior Health and Safety Advisor Glenn Smith from construction safety company HazardCo. Glenn, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Jared. How you going?
So today we're just diving a bit more into the amazing work HazardCo is doing in the safety space, which I know is a topic that will perk up a few ears from our tradie readers. So Glenn, can you kick us off with some background about the work HazardCo does exactly? Just take us through how the business really came to be and how exactly you guys are helping improve safety systems on construction sites across the country.
Yeah, cool. So a number of years ago, a couple of tradies in New Zealand were struggling with their compliance, and they were trying to figure out the easiest way to do it. So everything was really heavily paper based, and it was a struggle to keep up to date with what was being changed in legislation, what was SafeWorks interpretation on things. So they started the company HazardCo with the whole concept of keeping a bloke on the top of the ladder as safe as they can get them. And the way they did that is they literally created a product that you can use on your phone or your iPad, where you can comply with the legislation, like really, really simply. Um, their logic was we're tradies, we build stuff. I'm a carpenter, and I'm a fitter and turner, or I'm a joiner, or whatever it is that you do. And that's what you do. So you stick to what you do best, and allow someone like us to do all the easy, complicated safety stuff for you that you just, let's be realistic, you probably don't enjoy doing it. But we try and make it as easy as possible for you. So that's where HazardCo started. We moved into Australia, I think it was about 4.5, 5 years ago. I'm sure someone from the marketing team will correct me if that's wrong, but we we now engage. I think we've got 24 staff across the country. We service all states and territories. Our product is designed to service all the different types of legislation that we have, both in Victoria and all the subtle variations from all the harmonised legislation across the country. We've got safe work methods, templates. We've got toolboxes. We've got the ability to do reviews of all your sites. We've got risk assessments. We've got custom safety plans. But the big thing that's different with HazardCo to a lot of the other people out there in the market is you actually get the opportunity to talk to someone like me and my team. You can call a safety advisor. I've got coming up to 20 years experience in safety across a variety of different legislations and industries, and my colleagues, she's I think she's coming up towards 12 to 15 years now, similar sort of thing. So between the two of us, we are available on the phone. And I'm here to say that, behind this mustache that I've tried for a number of years to get as glorious as I could, there is a real person behind that number. So you'll call our 1-800 number, ask for the advisory team, and you'll come through to myself or my team, and we'll be able to help you in real time before the
Yeah,
inspectors get there. Or, a couple of times we've actually helped clients out whilst the inspector's there. So that's kind of where HazardCo is. We make it as easy as possible, and we try to be as real and as honest, clear, and as transparent as we can for everybody.
that's good to hear. I know a lot of readers will appreciate a real voice on the phone that they're talking to instead of an AI chatbot or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, on top of that, we have a 24-hour instant response line that if you do call it after business hours, it does get filtered by a third party. But if it's deemed to be appropriate, they'll call us and we'll give you a call back somewhere within 10 to 20 minutes of the issue being reported to it. So, even if you've got to do a 5 o'clock start and someone hurts themselves, you can call us and you'll come through to somebody.
Beautiful. And now you said the business started basically digitizing the old paper systems. Do you feel a lot of construction businesses in 2025 are still struggling with outdated safety systems?
Yeah, I think they do. A lot of that's to do with the size of their organisation. So the bulk of our clients are sole traders or partners, and they just don't see the value in generating all of that safety compliance documentation. And I'll be really honest, I can't blame them. Like, if you're a guy who builds pergolas and decks for a living, he doesn't want to come home and do another hour of stuff at home. He struggles enough with his books and his insurance and balancing his work-life load as well. A product like HazardCo actually just makes it easy for you. So I'll give you an example. So if you're the principal contractor on a build, you want to build a house, you register a project in our system. As you fill in the project details, it automatically creates a safety plan for you. So you don't even have to think about it. It's there. It gets created in the background. So if the safety regulator rocks up, you can go, yep, here you go. Part of that, you get a big board with all the builder's details on it. You get a QR code. So anyone that comes to site, the first time they scan that QR code, they go through a site induction. So if you look at it from a negligence piece, there's to prove that you're negligent, you have to not do anything. And if you start to do something, then it's very hard for negligence to be proved unless you make a monumental error. But if you've got a safety plan and you've got inductions, you're kind of halfway there. Following that, you've got downloadable templates for swims. You've got site reviews, which is our version of a hazard assessment. You've got the ability to risk assessments. You even do vehicle checklists on the product, and it's like they're all drop-down menus, very limited free text. And if you can sort of do all that as you work, then you're ticking so many compliance boxes that you don't even have to think about it. And what we find, Jared, is that when our clients start to use it on a regular basis, they don't even think about it. They just do it, and we've had a couple of clients where, regulators have turned up on site and they go, can I see your inductions? They might have, 35 people on the job and 34 of them have done the inductions, and the inspectors are like, Ace, thanks very much.
It's always
It's really,
handy.
yeah, it is, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know I sound like I'm trying not to sound like a salesman. I'll be really honest with everybody who watches this. It's in the 20 odd years I've been doing this, there's systems and there's easy ways to do things. And I'm a big advocate for the ease of which HazardCo allows a builder to do what they need to do without actually having to think too much about it.
Obviously, you guys talk to businesses across the country. What would you say are the major safety mistakes these businesses are making before they onboard HazardCo to their business or the system?
There's a couple that pop up pretty regularly. First and foremost is their safety documentation that they may have had from history isn't site specific. So this happens a lot. We get, a company that might build 5, 10 houses a year. Like they're getting to that stage where they're, getting close to being a group home builder. All of their documentation is the same for every single site, and they get caught out if something happens because there's no all the if you the legislation kind of specifies that everything has to be specific to that particular work site. So the safety plan might have a crossed out name on it and, penciled in the new address. And it's things like that that catch them out. Inductions is the big one. They don't do them. If you look at the way the regs are written, it's a requirement to convey safety information to all people working on the site. And the easiest way to do that is through an induction. And if you don't do an induction, you can't prove that you're conveying that information in the way that's required. And the collection of swims is the last one. So you've got all your high risk construction work activities, and the amount of I wouldn't say it happens a lot, but it happens frequently enough to make mention that a builder will ring us and go, I've just had an accident. I don't have any swims. Can you help me out?
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the short answer is to that is unfortunately at that point in time the answer is no. We can sort of help you mitigate what's going to happen, but if you you know if you don't have swims in place for working at heights, a pretty common one, you're just unnecessarily exposed.
And are there any key differences in construction safety depending on what sector these businesses are operating in? Or is it more
Yeah,
induction is more same the same?
inductions themselves are pretty consistent across all aspects. Where in construction, where things can get really tricky, it primarily is in around that plumbing space. So if you've got plumbers that are installing, big water tanks or septic tanks, for example, then they start to move into that confined space, which is highly specialized. But other than that sort of stuff, it's all pretty consistent across the industry. Like risk is risk. If you ever jump on our website and have a look, and you got the opportunity to have like a free demo show to you what the product can do. And you can see the level of detail that we've included on your behalf. So we try really hard to go, all right, so Jim the carpenter, he needs to know all of his working at heights. He needs to know all his mobile plan. He needs to know all of this stuff. And we do it all for them. You just have to tick a couple of boxes, choose some drop down options, and kind of, away you go sort of thing. It's pretty intuitive and pretty easy. So, but
Yeah, good.
the mistakes tend to be not doing anything and hoping that nothing bad happens. No, the great Australian way won't happen to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know I've been guilty of that myself in the past.
we all have at some
Yeah.
point. So
And also, just going back on that, so now looking at your website, I've seen that you've broken down the safety process into like three kind of steps. So pre-site, on-site, and oversight, if that's correct.
yeah,
Can you just dive a bit more into what these segments are exactly and what benefits each of these sort of segments or protocols bring to improving on-site safety?
yeah. So the start at the beginning. So the pre-site stuff is what we call contractor engagement in qualification, that sort of stuff. So it gives you the opportunity to have a tool that allows you to choose the right contractors. So you will ask for copies of all your insurances, copies of all your workers' comp, copies of public liability, copies of certifications for the tasks that you've engaged them for. Then we ask for things like a copy of a SWIMS from them. Understanding completely that a SWIMS is site specific, so you're happy with an example. But what we're trying to achieve here is that you can do an end-to-end proof that you've actually done a bit of due diligence and you've actually engaged people that have the right qualifications, skill set, and insurances to start on the job. So that's the bit that happens before the job. On the job, on site, is we give everyone the tools to comply with the legislation, and we do it in the easiest way possible. So, we've got toolboxes that you can either get everyone to scan on, or you can take a picture of the work crew, time stamped. Everyone's there. Hey, Jared, we're doing this and this and this today. Please make sure you don't park your car there and make sure you sign the SWIMS. Right. Away you go. Toolbox done. That instantly proves that you're consulting and that meets your legislative requirements. The other part of it is a tool called Site Review. Site Review allows you to assess your hazards and risks on a day-to-day basis, and it covers all aspects of construction work. They've got risk assessments in there as well. That's all the on-site. And then if you're the principal contractor, you've got the site-specific safety plan. So you're meeting those sort of legislative requirements. Outside of that, we have the ability to lodge incident investigations and incident support. And that's sort of the post stuff. So we cover pretty much everything in that construction space. Inside all of that, we've got the ability for different sorts of templates that might be specific to one site, not another. An example would be we've got a template for a hazardous substance register, where because of the guy tried to explain it and that didn't sink in, but basically he had soil type and he had to have a type of sort of solvent to remove some type of glue that was on some type of concrete, and it was a hazardous chemical, so he had to have that on the register. So we gave him the register as part of the product, and away he went, and he was instantly compliant. So that's sort of the breadth of the product. It's pretty wide, and again, you've got customer support the whole way through, and you've got advisory support the whole way through as well.
Yeah, beautiful. And so, yeah, even in the last year, we've seen safety guidelines change, especially around things with like working with silica-infused materials. So how is HazardCo helping tradies sort of evolve their safety plans over time as regulations change?
Yeah, look, the short answer is we will literally catch up once a week. We've got links to all the legislation changes that come through and exact wording of what they are, and then we've got links to all the state safety bodies, the HIAs, master builders, all of those sorts of stuff. So we look at how their interpretations are being delivered as well, and then we alter our product as needed to suit that. And the silica is a great one. Like there was different states had different rules around legacy. If you're contracted, you could still use it to a certain day. All of that sort of stuff, and we just literally build that into our product for our safety plans for people. Where it was needed to, we changed the safe work method statements and things like that, and then add to that, we're consistently adding blog posts to our marketing channels as well to sort of say this is the take on it. If you live in Western Australia, you need to do this, this, and this. If you live in South Australia, you need to do that and that. And then we communicate it out to as many people as we can. And some of the stuff in the background will literally change the product for the people. Told those that needed to be told, and just changed it for those that didn't need to be told. So it's a nice to have for them if they if they ever needed it. Yeah. So we're consistently all over that. Like literally, we have a standing meeting every week to do a document review, which is everything
Amazing.
product related. Yeah.
Beautiful. And now you've talked about inductions and risk assessment. So I'm going to ask the question that all our tradie readers really want to know. When it comes down to it, what are the main key safety measures every construction business needs to make sure they're compliant and safe?
Yeah. Look, if I was to break it down in a couple of things, I'd either have a safety plan, or if you're not the principal contractor, get a copy of it. Okay, if they should have it. And then if you're a HazardCo member and you're the principal contractor, you get one automatically as part of your project. The second one is I would induct myself onto every site just to make sure I've ticked the boxes. And if I have a team of people, if there's no site induction available, I'd do my own. And you literally just say to them in these inductions this is the front gate, this is the back gate. If you hurt yourself, come and talk to me. If I hurt myself, this is where you take us. And you just do those really, really, really basic ones, stuff like that. The other one, and this is the big one that catches so many people out, is safe work method statements. Make sure you're across the activities that you're doing that need them. The one that seems to catch people out the most is actually working at height. For example, there's a lot of people that get caught out when they're doing installation of windows on a second story. Obviously, the build is not complete, but you still need to provide some type of fall protection because there's no protection on that edge there. So it's little things like that. So have a safe work method statement for all of those high risk activities. And if you read it and you're not sure, then put a SWIMS in place. Or if you're a HazardCo member, you give us a call and we'll talk you through it. Save you the grief. So yeah, but if you stick to those things, they're probably the main ones. The other one, this is a weird one that catches a few people out, is the security fencing around the site. Whilst there's no hard and fast rules around that, what the state safety regulators look for is a 1.8 metre high fence around the construction zone. And I specify construction zone, not property. So for example, if you're doing a block in a semi-regional build area, the block could be, 1,500 to 2,000 metres. The expectation is not that you block off the entire block, but you just block off the house build component of it. So, just make sure that you're getting that done. And then that's the one that oddly enough, seems to capture a lot of people out. From an incident perspective, the one that we consistently get is second, third year apprentices shooting themselves in the hand with a nail gun. Happens a lot more than people think. So for anyone that has apprentices or young workers, please take the time to go through with these kids on how to use a nail gun properly. Like I know it seems really really simplified or really trivial, and like it's a pretty easy tool to use, but sometimes these kids just don't know how to use it, and injuries are actually really common, and depending on the treatment, you can get safe work involved on your site, which if we can avoid, we will. So spend 10 minutes with your apprentices and teach them how to use the nail gun properly, please. You save yourself a lot of grief.
It sounds like good advice.
Yeah. Never scratch your head with the nail gun. The old
Well, all in all, it sounds like HazardCo is doing some great work to help builders and tradies get their heads around some of the more taxing elements of worksite safety. A big thank you again, Glenn, for joining me here today.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
If any of our readers want to nab a 7-day free trial of HazardCo's safety system for themselves, you can head over to the company website at www.hazardco.com.
Cheers. Been my pleasure, Jared. Thanks for the time.